I don't want to go through another rebuild. I have no confidence in this organization to pick the right quarterback, the most important position in the game. And we're going backwards. And I don't want to be part of backwards. I totally get Myles Garrett. I don't blame him.
Yeah, I do too. And again, he is going to be the most sought-after guy on the market this upcoming year, and we'll see who's the highest bidder.
And if you're Cleveland, you've got to sit back and look at two things if you're Andrew Berry. A, we want to keep him, obviously. What does it look like if we keep him? What does it look like if we trade him for a nice haul of trade assets or draft assets? What is the best course of action? I almost feel like at this point it's B. I mean, I wouldn't want to get rid of Myles Garrett either, but
again, you're not going to be able to quickly get the organization to where he wants it to be. I mean, so you're not going to become a Super Bowl contender. And again, he's been in the league, which is a crazy thing about, for 8 years now.
I know.
It feels like he just got here yesterday, but again, he's not getting any younger, and he's not willing to wait around for you to figure this out for the first time in organizational history of getting your team to the caliber of being one of the best in the NFL. He wants to go somewhere where he can plug in and compete right away.
Yeah, I mean, everything went backwards. Your quarterback position's a mess. Your offensive line regressed. Your running game isn't the same because of injuries. Defensively, you start to show some cracks. And if I'm Myles Garrett, I'm like, no, I don't want to go through this.
I'm good.
Please, move me along. All right, obviously there was a ginormous trade in the NBA over the weekend that people are still going, huh? Luka Doncic goes to the Lakers. Anthony Davis going to the Mavs. Some other pieces are involved as well.
The Jazz are in there that nobody's talking about.
I think that there's a couple G League teams that had something to do with this thing.
Some water boys.
Here's my guy Shams at ESPN, who is the new Woj. Giving details on the secrecy of all these trade talks between the Mavericks and the Lakers. That's cut 18, Dave.
This deal materialized in the shadows. This came out of nowhere. This is maybe the most stunning trade, definitely that I've been a part of in recent NBA history, as far as it was never clearly out there. And you saw two teams in Rob Pelinka with the Lakers, Dallas Mavericks, Nico Harrison there, doing this deal. And I'm told Luka Doncic, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, the players, coaches, a lot of people on both sides with the Mavericks and Lakers had no idea. I can assuredly tell you it's a fact. LeBron James had no idea this was coming. Anthony Davis had no idea this was coming. I'm told Luka Doncic is still stunned about this trade.
Nobody knew.
Which is very rare in today's age.
Yes. And here's the thing. We don't have time right now. We'll get into it again in the 2 o'clock hour. This thing is so weird in so many ways and makes no sense in so many ways. And if you go down the road, there's two roads here, it feels like. The road of, let's go by the face value of Luka. Look, Luka's not getting smaller. Luka's a chubber, to be nice. He's put on some weight. And he doesn't really take the conditioning and nutrition seriously because he goes like this. Dude, I'm on a beer and cake diet, and I'm averaging 30 points a game, 9 rebounds and 9 assists, and I just helped get this team to the NBA Finals. So back off and hand me my bleeping Corona. So let's say that it is the conditioning. The last time I checked, he's 25 years old.
Yes.
And what you think at 25 can change when you get 28 or 29. All of a sudden, being a large person does not help you. B, and we're going to get into this later, a large contract was coming.
Yes, Supermax.
And I think that could be involved in this too. So we'll get into all that coming up later. But yeah, Luka's dad is also talking. We'll get to that as well. Halftime show, Terry Ford, Tyler Head, Firehouse Sub, text the hour next on The Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
This is Maggie Gray with a Sports Minute. The Dallas Mavericks traded away superstar Luka Doncic Saturday night, sending him to the Lakers. It's a blockbuster trade and pairs Luka with LeBron James. But how does this make sense for the Mavs? Luka's the centerpiece of the franchise, led the team to the finals last season, is entering the prime of his career. They got an off-injured Anthony Davis in return, Max Christie, and 1 draft pick. They didn't bother shopping Luka to the highest bidder. I'm Maggie Gray.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Right now at Wendy's, get 2 of these fave items for just $7. The spicier classic chicken sandwich, Dave's single, or 10-piece nugs. It's an incredible deal, but an insanely difficult choice. Do you go double chicky sando, both spicy and classic, 1 beefy and 1 chicky? Or maybe you go all in on one and go Nug Max. 2 faves for just $7? Gotta be Wendy's.
At participating Wendy's for a limited time only. Select a request 2 for $7 deal to redeem. Not valid in a combo or with saucy nugs. Single item at regular price. Prices may be higher in Alaska and Hawaii.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-568-2790. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-568-2790. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-568-2790. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-568-2790. 800-568-2790 or biglou.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
After you use Bounce Dryer Sheets and realize how fresh, soft, less wrinkled, and less staticky your laundry can be, you'll put a sheet on it every time. Like those socks that smell like they've been through a marathon. Put a sheet on it. Or that blanket that's got wrinkles on its wrinkles. Put a sheet on it. Maybe even your chatty coworker who keeps distracting you. Okay, Bounce Dryer Sheets can't do it all. But for fresher, softer, better laundry, put a sheet on it with Bounce.
The Halftime Show, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
It's time for Text of the Hour on the Firehouse Subs text line on the Halftime Show.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
And the 107.5 The Game app.
Time to get our Firehouse Sub text of the hour, 803-404-6100. Yeah. Luca's dad, not happy with the Mavs.
No, not at all.
But should Luca's dad be happy with the Mavs? If you're Luca's dad, you're not happy automatically, right?
No, considering your son was set to make about $350 million over the course of the next few years.
Roughly almost $70 million a year for 5 years.
Yeah. It's like, do you want the production or do you want to save the money?
That's one of my points, Ro, and we'll get to our text that we'll get to later in the 2 o'clock hour. This isn't Mark Cuban's Mavs anymore. Everybody automatically goes, Mark Cuban. No, Mark Cuban's a minority owner. He sold his majority stake. He's not involved in the day-to-day operations, day-to-day decision-making. Cuban's pretty much moved himself out.
Yep.
If Mark Cuban's the owner, this doesn't happen. Mark Cuban's never trading. Mark Cuban would trade his family before he traded Luka Doncic.
Mark Cuban knows how and wants to win.
Yeah, and so the Adelson family is who now owns the Mavs, and they built up their billions and billions in the casino business out in Vegas. And then they went worldwide with their casinos. So I can see this conversation with the matriarch when they say, the basketball team that we bought, the best player is due for a new contract. Okay. So what are we looking at? 5 years. Okay. $70 million a year. Let me get this right. A man is going to dribble and shoot a basketball, and we're going to pay him $70 million a year to do it? Yes. I don't think that's a very good idea.
What if I told you he's one of the best in the world at doing this thing?
Is he $70 million best?
That's for the market to decide.
Because, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, if you're not in the world of sports like we are.
It sounds asinine,
It sounds so ridiculous that, someone who's in another business altogether goes, wait a minute, hold on, let me get this right. Some dude is going to put on little shorts and sneakers. He's going to run down a basketball court, and he's going to shoot the ball and dribble the ball and rebound the ball, and we're going to pay him $70 million to do it. No. I mean, I just picture that trying to explain that to someone who doesn't understand the value of Luka Doncic.
We're going to get our water boy. He's going to go out there, and he's going to fill that spot. It'll be the same thing.
And we can pay him $15 an hour.
$15 an hour, that's right.
Well, it's sort of like, when people get mad over, like, the college head coach being the highest paid employee in the state.
Yep.
Everybody goes nuts till you realize how much money his program brings in for the state.
Yeah, and the fact that that's also coming from the Athletic Association, not the same budget that's funding the science program at your school. I've had that argument with people many times. It's not the same money.
No.
The Athletic Association produces its own revenue, and that's what the coaches get paid from.
Right. So that's the deal.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, people don't understand the way this stuff goes. And we're circling back to her, $70 million to play basketball? Why are we doing that?
Yeah.
So I think, there's two roads of this to think about. One is that whole conditioning stuff, but the other one is paying him that contract.
Yep.
So anyway, we have Firehouse Subtext area 344-460-100.
Jeff in Georgia says, how about the shape that Babe Ruth played in, hitting home runs while drunk and smoking cigars? Should have traded him.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
exactly. Today?
Not the physical specimen that we need.
Right. Wait a minute.
Wait, he's still hitting home runs, right?
Yeah, but look at him.
We played for the conference. We played for the finals last year, right?
Yeah, we asked him to get off to get on a treadmill, and he wouldn't do it. Yeah, but he hit more home runs than teams, and we won the World Series. Yeah, but look at him. He can't even tie his shoes. And
we can get someone to tie his shoes for him if he can keep hitting home runs.
That's my thing. One of the things that run through my head is Luka's 25 years old, and you're saying get in shape. Quit drinking so much beer. They say he loves his beer. Quit drinking so much beer, and start eating better and exercising more to get yourself in better cardio shape. And if you weigh less, then you won't be as prone to injury, and you can play more games. And if you're 29, 30 years old and you're carting about 280, you're gonna have a tough time being the player that you are because you can't move the way. And then and you say that to him, and right now at 25, he goes like this: "Did you watch film last year?"
Yeah.
"I'm fine, man. Give me a Budweiser." And I just think that when it's hard to tell someone who is unbelievably gifted at something that one day they're not going to be this gifted. But when they start to see it, then most of the largely gifted who have pride in themselves change, right?
Yep.
And they start, stop drinking so much beer. Stop just sitting around eating gallons of ice cream every night. Maybe hit the treadmill. Maybe get on some workout program that'll slim down 20 or 30 pounds. I can play at 220 like I'm listed in ESPN. I think to make this, first of all, I'm not making this trade. I am not making this trade if I'm the Mavericks. I have a 25-year-old generational player. I have arguably the best offensive player in the world, the most skilled offensive player in the world, who, by the way, we just went to the NBA Finals.
Yep.
There is no way I'm making this trade. Let me get that out of the way now. No way I'm making it. No matter, like I said, you can be right in your thoughts and still make the wrong decision.
Sure.
And that's what the Mavs did. Trading that guy makes zero sense.
1075 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20K off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Shepherd's Glass has provided commercial, residential, and auto glass installation, repair, and replacement to Columbia for over 50 years. Large retail storefronts, auto, custom shower enclosures, and mirrors for that remodeling or new construction project. Visit shepherdsglass.com to see and learn more. Now with 2 locations on Platte Springs Road in West Columbia and Chapin at 855 Chapin Road. shepherdsglass.com.
Shepherd's Glass. Shepherd's Glass, a true reflection of quality.
What's up, Gamecocks? Ben Cato, third-generation owner of Cato's Power Equipment. We have an exciting new solution for those of you who have retention ponds, large hills, or overgrown land that needs clearing. Now available at Cato's Power Equipment, the all-new Gravely Ovis RC40 is a remote control, track-driven flail mower with a uniquely low center of gravity that makes easy work of hillsides and large brush. Whether you're interested in renting or purchasing, come schedule your free demo today at Cato's Power Equipment.
Hey guys, Jay Phillips and Grayson Grinder here for our friends at Integrated Media. Grayson, now that you and the family have settled into life after years in the bigs, I hear you've added to what Integrated Media had already done around the house. Tell us what makes your system so much fun to use.
Yeah, Jay, Integrated Media has taken care of us from day one. Everything they do looks fantastic, everything they do sounds fantastic, and everything runs seamlessly when it comes to our smart home. In today's day and age of streaming everything, having a strong Wi-Fi connection throughout the house is critical, and Integrated Media is the best in the business at setting you and your family up with everything you could ever need.
Now, I don't know about you, but having an outdoor system that looks and sounds like the indoors is better than I could have imagined.
Yeah, one of the perks of living in the Midlands of South Carolina is enjoying time outdoors virtually year-round. From weatherproof mounted televisions to outdoor speaker systems, Integrated Media is the standard when it comes to outdoor entertainment. They're the only people I would ever recommend when it comes to outfitting your smart home indoors or out.
Work with the best in the business, and that's our friends at Integrated Media. Grayson and I can't recommend them highly enough. See their work on Facebook and Instagram, then call them up at 803-948-8327 and get Integrated Media into your home today.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, HIMS can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/radio. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT Eastover, Columbia. A Cumulus media station.
The Halftime Show, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
Not feeling like yourself? Call the Men's Clinic at 803-875-MENS.
It's 1 o'clock. That means football. Football. And more football. On the Halftime Show.
Is sponsored by Atlantic Window and Door. Go to awdsc.com.
On the Game Network. And the 1075 The Game app.
Halftime show. Tyler Head, David Ayer, Terry Ford is hanging out here up until 3 o'clock. In the 1 o'clock hour, we always talk football, and more football, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. And before we get to the football part, though, Carolina calls. 6 o'clock on Thursday with Lamont Paris. That's here in Columbia at 107.5 The Game, and also in Myrtle Beach, 100.3 The Game. 5:30 on our sister station on Thursday, 98.5 WOMG. South Carolina, the women, the number 2 ranked women, will take on Georgia. Again, 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock tip on WOMG. And tomorrow morning, the early game, driving down Main Street, 6 to 9 a.m. Preston, Bill, and Jen knocking around golf balls. That is driving down Main tomorrow morning. Early game, out broadcasting live. All right, kind of interesting. The Senior Bowl is done. And so once the dust settled, 3 Gamecocks were there during the week of practice. As we got through the week, Demetrius Knight played. And it feels like out of the 3, Demetrius Knight and T.J. Sanders had good weeks. Kyle Kennard was okay, but probably didn't have the week as well as a T.J. Sanders or a Demetrius Knight did. And there are a lot of people who really dug what Demetrius Knight did during the practices. There are some folks that think, again, I think Demetrius Knight, 3rd or 4th round is where he'll end up going. But there are a lot of people who really like what Demetrius Knight did during the week at the Senior Bowl. And, of course, the interview's off the charts. He's a grown man. He's got kids. Spends his time, going to Joann Fabric with the wife. He's a very mature guy when you hear about how well he interviewed. That only helps his draft stock as well. But nice week at the Senior Bowl for Demetrius Knight. I mean, you didn't see him on the list of the best, but most people think that he really helped himself out during the week.
Yeah, again, he's going to be one of those middle-ish round draft picks, and as we talked about, somebody that you feel like when you get in your linebacker room is going to really wow you, and obviously the experience goes a long way, the maturity as well, and hopefully somebody that can find a good place and can stick around the league for a while.
Yeah, I mean, and T.J. Sanders obviously helped himself out during the week. Really nice job rushing the passer from the interior. Kyle Kennard didn't quite have the positive reviews that Knight and Sanders did.
Sure.
And one of the things I thought with Kennard was a little stiff in the drills and things of that nature. But, again, he's a guy that it feels like he'll go in the 2nd round of the NFL draft before it's all said and done.
Yep.
So it was an interesting week for the Gamecocks who all did all the postseason stuff. So we think Nick Amenwari, I think he'll be the highest drafted Gamecock. Probably go early 2nd round.
Probably.
Maybe late 1st round if somebody really likes him late in the 1st. But
depends on need.
It feels like Amenwari and then Knight. No, Amenwari, then either Sanders. I don't know if Sanders goes ahead of Kennard now or not. I still think Kennard might go ahead of Sanders, but it's going to be close. And then Knight goes 4th round, 3rd tops. But good week.
They're all going to be gone in the first half of the draft, basically.
Yeah, no. Once you get to round 5, they're gone.
Yeah.
They'll be gone by the time you get to round 5. So that's kind of what happened during the week. Again, it's so funny because I just Googled Demetrius Knight just for fun. And a lot of these NFL, all these people who cover NFL teams who are talking about, the need is off-ball linebacker. Mm-hmm. His name came up a ton. Oh, he had a good week here, and he did this, but it's so funny because just different people say different things who are covering these teams. One guy will go, yeah, sources said that Knight was really good in the run game, and he was fast sideline to sideline, but he's going to struggle in coverage. The next guy, this team loved the way he covered. They loved the way he was shadowing running backs and tight ends, and the next one will say, yeah, I don't know about coverage. It's just really funny. But Knight got a lot of love.
Sure.
This week. So did T.J. Sanders. So we'll see where all that goes moving forward. But good week, especially for those two. And how about Donald Fortune getting a pick 6?
That's right. The Shrine game the other day.
So that was all good. So that's the latest there with the Gamecocks and what will happen with the NFL draft with those guys. Obviously, they got this little game on Sunday coming up called the Super Bowl. Kansas City still about 1.5-point favorites.
Last time I checked,
too. So there's a lot of. I heard some interesting conversation about this, and they were comparing it to when the Patriots played the Giants when New England was undefeated. And I'm sitting back going, no, because that Giant team wasn't anywhere as good as this Eagle team is.
No, and that Patriots team felt unbeatable as they had been up to that point. This is clearly a Chiefs team that is beatable. They have just come out on the end of all those one-score games. So it's like you see a better path and blueprint to when the Giants won that game, everybody was like, oh, my God, they actually did it. They beat the undefeated Patriots. Like, if the Eagles won on Sunday, everybody would be like, oh, yeah, okay, I see that.
Oh, yeah, nobody's going to go, wow, the Eagles shocked the world.
You look at the stat sheet, like, all right, Saquon ran for $180 and had 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts didn't turn the ball over. Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean, that Giant team, that's one of the 2 or 3 biggest upsets in Super Bowl history.
Without a doubt.
I don't think the Eagles beating the Chiefs. Again, it's a 1.5-point spread. The Chiefs don't look as good as their record. And if you put these two teams on paper, the Eagles are better. They just are. They're a better team on paper. I mean, obviously Kansas City has a better quarterback. But look, the Eagle offensive line is phenomenal. Chiefs is really good, too. I'll take the Eagle wide receivers over the Chief wide receivers.
Yeah.
I will take Dallas Goedert over an aging Travis Kelce. I will, obviously, running back, Saquon Barkley. No offense to Kansas City's collection of backs. I'll take Saquon Barkley in a second. Defensively, I mean, Philadelphia defensively has playmakers all over the field just as much as Kansas City. Philadelphia, to me, if you lay down the 22, you're going to take more Eagles in a pickup game than you are Chiefs. So going back to the point, if Philadelphia wins, I just don't see that being anywhere comparable to when the Giants beat the undefeated Patriots.
No, I don't think so. And I not that we can go back and necessarily look up, but I imagine the spread for that Super Bowl, maybe a touchdown, maybe more for that game?
Probably more, yeah.
So, again, we're talking about a 1.5-point spread here.
Yeah, I just don't see any comparisons to that game and this game at all. And somebody was trying to lay this out earlier today, and I'm just going, dude, I get you. You keep trying. I don't get this one at all. Sorry. Just not the same. It's not the same. And with Kansas City, it's just they find ways to win close games. They don't beat themselves.
The Patriots had a 12.5-point spread in that game.
Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. There was remember they beat the Giants at the end of the regular season, too. There was no way the Patriots were going to lose that football game.
Allegedly,
until they did.
This is a story from ESPN. The Giants cost Nevada sportsbooks $2.6 million in lost bets by beating the Patriots.
Wow.
And that was before, sports gambling exploded to what it is today. Jeez. In today's world, I can't imagine how big that number would be.
Oh, yeah. It would be insane. When you look at that New England team, and you look at that Giant team, the Giant team was 9-7.
Yeah, didn't they lose to the Patriots in the regular season, too?
Yeah, they beat them near the end of the regular season. Patriots beat them.
Whatever.
Yeah, that was, to me, again, I'll never forget it.
Eli Manning didn't make the playoffs a lot, but when he did, watch out.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That's the weird thing about Eli Manning is if you watch Eli Manning play, well, I shouldn't say everybody, but me. I watch Eli Manning play. I didn't go like this. Wow. That is a surefire first-ballot Hall of Fame football player right there. But when you look at the total numbers, he threw too many picks. But if you look at the total numbers Eli Manning accumulated and the 2 Super Bowl runs that ended up in championships, even though the eye test sometimes didn't support it, that guy's a first-ballot Hall of Famer when you look at the 2 Super Bowl rings and you look at the accumulation of stats.
In those 2 Super Bowl runs, he combined for across 8 games, over 2,000 yards through the air, through 15 touchdowns and only 2 picks.
Yeah.
That's
those
insane.
2 runs. Unbelievable.
The entirety of his rest of the other games that he played in the playoffs had a total of 3 touchdowns and 7 interceptions.
Yeah. That's my point. It's one of the weirdest resumes you're ever going to see.
Yep.
And when you look at his career numbers, I think he threw for like 57,000 yards or something insane, or 47. It was 57,000 yards or something like that.
57,023 yards in his career.
Think about that for a minute. Eli Manning. Now, he had a few too many interceptions, but
244 interceptions to be exact.
Yeah. And how many touchdown passes?
366.
So his touchdown interception ratio isn't great.
Yeah, not at all.
But he is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
It's like a 4-to-3 ratio.
Yeah, it's craziness. His numbers are so whacked out, and again, the eye test. No one ever said this. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
No, but those 2 Super Bowl rings get him in Canton.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing: to me, I thought Phillip Rivers was the better quarterback. Year in, year out, game in, game out, I thought Phillip Rivers was better. But Phillip Rivers is no one's going to talk about putting Phillip Rivers in on the first ballot.
No, not at all. No. Him and Matt Ryan, I think, kind of fall in the same regard of like how good they were, but the fact that they can never get over. And Matt Ryan at least made a Super Bowl and won an MVP. But not having that Super Bowl on the resume hurts them a lot. If the Falcons don't blow the 28-3 lead, I think people say, yeah, without a doubt, Matt Ryan, probably first ballot Hall of Famer. But now it's like I'm not really sure.
You think about Matt Ryan, and again, Matt Ryan might just look at his bank account and he doesn't care. But if you're Matt Ryan and that kind of stuff does matter to you, you're, half a quarter away from being a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Because if you look at Matt Ryan's numbers, he was an MVP. If you get that ring on your finger to go with everything else you did in your career, you're a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Without a doubt.
Interesting.
Now, should it be that way? It's debatable,
the way it is.
But that's the way that it is.
I mean, to me, that's not the only thing you should judge a quarterback on, but I think it is something you look at when you're judging the best of the best.
Yeah.
Like, if someone, like, because the ring thing is a lazy narrative if you apply it to Dan Marino.
Marino's kind of the exception to the rule, right? His era, too. His numbers were so insanely ridiculous that you can't say, well, he never won a like, no, he's a special exception.
And Dan Fouts. Dan Fouts threw the ball all over the yard. I mean, the Chargers fell short, I think, 2 AFC championship games when Dan Fouts was a quarterback.
That's when you could mug receivers.
I mean, Dan Fouts, the numbers Eric Coryell, that offense put up with Fouts, and if you're going to tell me that you would take Trent Dilfer and Jeff Hostetler over Dan Fouts, I can't talk to you.
Do you think Dilfer's surprised every year he doesn't get selected to the Hall of Fame? It's like, guys, I got a ring. Look.
Right, look at me. Look at this thing. Look at me. I threw a touchdown pass to Brandon Stokely. I did. Look at me. All right, football, and more football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors here on the game with David Dare, Terry Ford, Tyler Head. A couple little notes from the world of college football. One offensive coordinator is going from college to the NFL. Another offensive coordinator is going from the NFL to college. And a guy that used to be a pretty highly thought of offensive coordinator, a lot of people thought got screwed over being a head coach, is now back in coaching again, and he's coaching running backs. Confused? Me too. We'll talk about it next on the halftime show right here on The Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
When it comes to comfort, you can rely on Brian's Heating and Cooling. Here's Eric Moan.
Brian and his wife are very good people. I've gotten to know them as a family, and to me, that's a great tiebreaker in an industry where you could choose a whole lot of different providers. Somebody that you get along with on a personal level is a big plus for me. He is a stand-up guy, and they do good work, and really, you can't do better than that.
Call Brian's Heating and Cooling at 796-1788.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. Check out the Season of Love at South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer. I-26 in Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
When you're injured in South Carolina, let me tell you what you deserve. An ally who understands your values, who speaks your language, and is invested in your future. The Jeffcoat firm is a team of proven attorneys from right here. We know South Carolina. We know the law, and we know how to get results. When you're injured in our state, call us because you deserve better.
Responsible attorney is Michael Jeffcoat, 1333 Main Street, Columbia.
Hey, this is Ray.
And Mary Ann with Absolute Glass.
And we're happy to have been voted Lexington's best glass store for 15 years in a row.
Many drivers are unaware that your cracked windshields can be replaced, usually at absolutely no cost to you.
If all the high-end car dealerships in town can trust us to do their glass needs, so can you.
We service the Midlands both at our shop in Lexington, but we are also happy to come to you at home or work.
Find us online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com.
And remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Hey, y'all, Jay Phillips here for my good friends at Dan's Fan City in Harbison. Ceiling fans don't sound like something you think about a lot because you don't really need to, but when you've got good ones, they work so well, keeping energy costs down and your comfort level up. All kinds of fans at Dan's Fan City, big to small and quiet, quality fans. They have accessories and light kits, fan blades, and more. Stop by and see them soon, Harbison Boulevard next to Total Wine, or call Dan's Fan City, 781-FANS. You'll be glad you did.
Some mornings have me struggling to get out of bed. But thanks to McDonald's, now I have 3 delicious reasons to psych myself up for the day ahead. With the 2 for $5 mix and match deal, I can choose from the breakfast classics Mickey D's is known for. From the sizzling sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles, to a sausage McMuffin with egg, to a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. Ooh, what you waiting for? Get out of bed, sleepyhead, and make your way to Mickey D's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal, single item or regular price.
You want to remodel. Actually, you need to remodel. I'm Eddie Springer of Trey Cow Builders, and with us, remodeling is easy. Whether it's your kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, or even the whole house that needs an upgrade, at Trey Cow, we'll help you every step of the way. We do first-class work quickly, cleanly, and affordably. Call 360-8211, 360-8211, or visit TRECALbuilders.com. Trey Cow Builders, quality from start to finish.
Enjoy up to 70% off premium products, designer handbags, gift cards from national chains, autographed sports memorabilia, cruises, hotel accommodations, and more. SweetDeals.com. Click Premium.
The Halftime Show with Terry Ford and Tyler Head. Call or text 803-404-6100 on the Game Network.
It's the place for sports.
And on the 107.5 The Game app.
Halftime show. We talk nothing but football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. David Ayer running the controls. Tyler Heads here. Terry Ford. We are going till 3 on the game. Then the post-game show with Jay and Elijah will take over. All righty. So, Chip Kelly hadn't been in the NFL in a long time. 7 years? I think it is 7, 8 years?
2016. So,
about
8 years.
Almost 9 years now.
Yep.
8 years since Chip Kelly's been in the NFL. He had an awful season coaching the 49ers. People forget that Kyle Shanahan replaced Chip Kelly. If my memory serves me.
That was that weird period between. So after Harbaugh was let go, they had Tom Sula or whatever his name was, and then Chip Kelly, and then Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, again, Tom Sula, I think, was part of Harbaugh's staff, and he was a beloved guy. Hey, let's give him the job. Hey, let's take the job from him. And Kelly was a disaster for a year. And then Kelly ran off to UCLA after, I think we sat out a year and then went to UCLA.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Kelly said, you know what, I really don't want to be a head coach in the NIL era. I just want to draw plays and call plays. So he goes to Ohio State, makes a lot of money as an offensive coordinator. But I think what Kelly did was interesting. And you brought this up to me earlier. I know you probably talked about it earlier on the show. Is Kelly looked like a one-trick pony.
Yep.
Let's play fast tempo, and we'll build all this stuff on playing really fast, and that's my thing. But once the playing fast card got taken away, it was like, don't you have a plan B, bub? What's up, Bubba? What are we going to do now? We took away your fast. What do you got for us? And I don't know if it took Chip a few years to readjust, And I know last year when you have that much talent, anybody can look good, maybe. But Chip Kelly seemed to kind of reinvent himself last year at Ohio State as an offensive coordinator and a play caller because he's gone from playing really fast to really slow.
Yeah, and that was the signature of those Oregon teams back in the day that played for the national championship. And what he was trying to bring to the NFL was this breakneck, up-tempo offense that the league hadn't really seen before. And, according to a lot of people that played for him, he had trouble getting guys to buy in, to want to play that fast. And obviously it hurts your defense if you go 3 and out, you're putting them right back on the field. So it's just a model that doesn't really work in the NFL. And, he comes back to college and very much kept that same thing. In 2023, his last year coaching at UCLA, they were 13th in tempo in the nation. This past year at Ohio State, 119th. You almost forgot he was the OC there because it looked so different from what we got used to seeing out of a Chip Kelly coached offense. So now, after having the success that year, if there was ever time to go back to the NFL, having a year like that under your belt, I'd say now's the time to do it.
Yeah, I think you jump on it. Obviously, they're going to pay you very nicely. Problem is, you show up in Vegas and you go, so, who's my quarterback?
Have you ever heard of Aiden O'Connell?
Aiden, yeah.
You remember Gardner Minshew from the Pac-12, right?
Oh, really? Those are my quarterbacks? You call Ryan Day. Hey, you didn't fill my spot yet, have you? I mean, it's, look, Pete Carroll, I get it. You bring in Chip Kelly. Like you said, Chip Kelly seemed like reinvented himself this past year at Ohio State. You bring Kelly in. You're hoping that you're bringing this offensive mastermind in some way, shape, or form. We'll see who they get at quarterback, and we'll see where it goes. But, the one thing about Pete, again, things can change. People can evolve. Pete wanted to play a certain way on offense in Seattle. And there were a lot of people that thought Pete didn't evolve. And Pete wasn't, because Pete had some weapons. They had a nice wide receiver core. Russell Wilson in his prime. They thought, hey, Pete, maybe you need to start looking at some of the more modern concepts of offense. And Seattle, it wasn't evolving. And a lot of that got pointed at Pete, that and their offensive line was terrible. So we'll see what Pete Carroll is now, just like we had to see what is Chip Kelly now. It's going to be an interesting little petri dish of experiment in Vegas.
It is, and if this works out well, it almost in a way kind of sets the table for what you do whenever Pete Carroll decides he doesn't want to coach anymore. Because we talked about it. He's going to be 74 by the second week of the season this year. He's not going to be around here for 10 years doing this job. The numbers, the age just tells you that. So we're like, okay, well, if he's only around for 3 or 4 years, what happens after that? If they're successful, and that's a big if because we don't know if they're going to be, then you could naturally hand it over to somebody that's already been a coach in the NFL before, is a lot younger than what Pete Carroll is, and boom, there's your succession plan.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if you're Chip Kelly, you get in there, and again, I'm not. This would not happen, by the way. But in Chip Kelly's brain, he's like, "Ooh, third time could be a charm. I'll get in there with Pete, and then once Pete's ready to go, maybe I could. They'd let me give it a whirl if I showed them that, hey, I'm a different guy. I'm a changed dude. I can do this and that, and I've learned. And I don't think that'll happen, but I can see Chip Kelly thinking that way.
Yeah, and look, nobody for the Raiders is going to come out and say, hey, in 3 years, we're going to be done with Pete Carroll, and then Chip Kelly's going to take over. But again, you have pieces in place where if it works out the right way, that can end up happening.
The whole thing about Vegas is interesting to me because, look, we know what it's like when Mark Davis is in charge.
Sure. It's
a disaster. If Tom Brady truly is going to take ownership of this franchise in how it's run day to day, then let's see what old Tom Brady does. Let's see, you hire Pete Carroll. If Brady was behind the hiring of Pete Carroll or recommended hiring Pete Carroll, I think it's a good hire. I really do. The man has won. He's won in college. He's won the NFL. He knows how to set culture. He's a leader. I think it's a really good hire. All right, that being said, what's next? What are you going to do at quarterback? You've seen Pete go out and get coordinators. How are you now going to go forward with this thing with Tom Brady if he is indeed the guy really pushing stuff? We'll find out.
Yeah.
We'll find out with the with Vegas. So Alabama last year on offense, as we go to college, started off real hot, kind of leveled it off, dipped a bit, and then was kind of inconsistent the rest of the year, right?
Yep.
Have a good week, not so good week, not so good week. Kalen DeBoer looked at it and said, man, what are we missing? Oh, my old offensive coordinator, Ryan Grubb. Well, the world is so weird in coaching. Ryan Grubb got nothing but attaboys at UW. Being the offensive coordinator of that powerful Washington offense, you saw the quarterback, and you saw the 3 wide receivers all go within the first 3 rounds of the draft. And Ryan Grubb was the guy pushing the buttons. So Seattle, the Seahawks, offer Ryan Grubb their offensive coordinator gig when Grubb was ready to go to Tuscaloosa with Kalen DeBoer.
Yep.
And Grubb, very smart, I'd have done the same thing. Hey, Kalen, I love you to death, man, but the NFL just offered me a job.
And I don't have to move.
Yeah, and I can just stay right here in my house. And let's see, Seattle, Tuscaloosa. So Ryan Grubb stays, and it was kind of a weird year being the OC. It was kind of up and down, some good things, some bad things. And I was surprised when McDonald, the coach in Seattle, Mike McDonald, decided to part ways with Grubb. I thought you'd give Grubb a couple of years to do this. So something just was off. And Grubb was now available, and Kalen DeBoer was like, hey, what do you think about Tuscaloosa now, bub? And he's like, sure, can't afford this house in Seattle anymore without a job. So Ryan Grubb is now the offensive coordinator of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
And we'll see what kind of difference that makes. Again, I think Nick Sheridan's still going to stay on the staff there with Alabama, according to what I read. But again, when we go back to the year they made the national championship 2 seasons ago now, Kalen DeBoer's offense, very effective, very high flying with Michael Penix Jr., at the point there, and Ryan Grubb calling the offense. So maybe this is what he needs, on the sidelines with him, that familiarity with Ryan Grubb and all that kind of stuff to get the offense where he needs it to be. Because like you said, that was something that was so inconsistent this year that was a big reason why they lost 4 games.
I think it's a good move. Bring back your guy. Your guy's available, bring back your guy. Remember, the guys that stepped up weren't going to be the OCs anyway. They just had to step up in new roles because Grubb took off to Seattle. Now you can put everybody back in the spots they were going to be in the first place. And I don't know how much would Alabama, the struggles of that offense last year had to do with no Ryan Grubb, or had to do with Jalen Milroe physically does a lot of impressive Sports Center stuff, right? Especially when he takes off.
Yep.
Or he throws a deep ball. But when you watch Jalen Milroe play down to down, you and I sat there at O'Hara's and watched him play against South Carolina, he makes some not very accurate throws in the intermediate areas, and he makes some head-scratching decisions at times throwing the football. How much of that was you just had a better quarterback in Seattle and better wide receivers?
Mm-hmm.
With, when you were coaching at UW with Michael Penix and that crew of wideouts, Adunze and those guys, maybe you just had better players. And look, Ryan Williams popped with the first month of the year, the wide receiver at Bama, and then he was just kind of leveled off.
You forgot about him.
Yeah. And then we started watching that freaky guy Smith at Ohio State do crazy stuff.
This guy's a better version of him.
Wow. So maybe it's as simple as you had better players at Washington than you had at Alabama on offense in key spots.
Yep.
So we'll see, though. I think bringing back Grubb's a good move because now you got the band back together, so to speak, right?
Can't hurt.
Eric Bieniemy, really quick. Remember Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator for Andy Reid?
Yep.
And I thought, and I will say this, and I'll be honest, I thought at the time that Bieniemy was getting screwed out of head coaching gigs. I mean, Doug Peterson went on to be a head coach from leaving Andy Reid. Matt Nagy did it. You've had guys do it, but Bieniemy wasn't getting the jobs. I'm like, what's going on? And a lot of people went straight to obviously the fact of the race card because NFL owners, it's legit at times. There's no doubt.
Sure.
But then I started hearing some stuff, too, that Bieniemy doesn't interview well. And that might be a problem. And there's some people that come away from those interviews thinking, well, really, how much is Bieniemy doing? And everybody loved Bieniemy's work ethic and his attitude. But then once Bieniemy left Andy Reid, things just went in the crapper.
He bet on himself to go to Washington for that year. Disaster. Went to UCLA this past year.
Or UCLA. Yeah, disaster.
And nothing he's done since leaving the Chiefs has worked.
And now he's a running back coach in Chicago.
It's a bit of a downgrade from a OC in the NFL.
Crazy. All right, more football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. Speaking of quarterbacks in the NFL draft, how does this crop rate? We'll get to that next here on the Halftime Show on The Game.
100.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, Hims can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/radio. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Get ready to smile because Herndon Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy dealer, is offering an amazing deal right now. Get up to $20,000 off new Silverados. Yes, you heard that right. Up to $20,000 off. Don't wait. Head over to HerndonChevy.com today and drive home in the truck of your dreams. Chevy, together let's drive.
Herndon Chevrolet, Herndon makes you wanna smile.
Call 803-510-5447 for complete details.
Hi, my husband and I own a small business in Columbia, and we ended up needing some help with some tax problems that we had and needed to get resolved. We initially owed about $300,000, and John Ecton and his law firm ended up getting us an offer in compromise, which dramatically reduced the amount owed. I would personally recommend the Ecton law firm. They did an excellent job for us, and if this is a concern that you're facing, they're definitely the people you should call.
It's great to know we have changed people's lives for the better. Hi, this is local attorney John Ecton with the Ecton Law Firm. For over a decade, our office has been dedicated to helping hardworking individuals and businesses solve tax problems for good. So if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are facing IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, call our office today at 771-9800 or go to EctonLawFirm.com. That's ECTON lawfirm.com. Let's get your tax problem solved for good. Call today. You'll be glad you did.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing. And for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
Enjoy up to 70% off premium products. Designer handbags, gift cards from national chains, autographed sports memorabilia, cruises, hotel accommodations, and more. SweetDeals.com. Click Premium.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet on the Game Network.
What we're talking about is just football in the 1 o'clock hour, sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. It's halftime show. Tyler Head, David Dare, Terry Ford up until 3 on the game. All right, so Jason Reed from ESPN does a really nice job of scouting for the NFL draft. Guy's been around, he's played, he's scouted, he's done all sorts of stuff. And so he now, I guess he's become the Todd McShay of ESPN. So he started rating the quarterbacks, strengths, weaknesses, and to the shock of no one, you know who number one is? Cam Ward.
Mm-hmm.
And he talks about Cam Ward, arm strength, can make big throws, make big plays, but the negative is he gets reckless. He gets a little gunslinger in him. Every now and then he goes, wow, there's 3 defensive guys surrounding my wide receiver. Watch me make this throw. And, when you have guys like that, there's always the question of, can you get them to the point to where they can be selectively gunslingy? Like Brett Favre got to the point where, he learned when it was time to make a hero throw and when it was time not to. Josh Allen's gotten better at it.
Yep.
But it's always can you coach that out of them? And it's just, that's always a question. With Cam Ward, it's going to be a question. The guy, he's got the arm, he can make the throws. It's just sometimes he makes decisions that aren't really the best decision to make. Number 2, I know you'll be stunned, Shedeur Sanders, Colorado. Again, with Sanders, the strengths, and Jason Reed talks about it, and if you watched Sanders play, you give Sanders time to drop back in the pocket and fling it, he can fling it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't throw the ball downfield as much this past year because, well, let's face it.
Didn't have time.
And they didn't want to get him killed. So they started kind of running an offense where he got the ball out of his hands quicker. But Sanders can make the throws. Problem is, when he's pressured, he does stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you got to live for the next down, man, sometimes. Just it's not there. And you can't hold the ball too long, and you can't make questionable throws because you're trying to do something, make something out of nothing when you're under pressure. Sanders isn't a gunslinger. So when the pressure is there, sometimes he doesn't react well to it. And look, in the NFL, you think you got pressure in college?
Good Lord.
Yeah, wait till the pressure comes to you in the NFL. But
especially considering the fact you're going to be drafted by a team very high up who likely doesn't have a great offensive line. That, guess what? You're going to be like Derek Carr. You're getting a lot of sacks your first year.
PTSD. The thing about Sanders, though, is he's really accurate. I mean, his off-target throw percentages and stuff like that, if you go look at analytics, he's one of the best in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Very accurate thrower of the football. And, they talk about quarterbacks anticipation. He anticipates well. There's a lot of really good things Sanders does. It's just, the minute the heat comes, he starts to do some goofy stuff. And people look at Ward as maybe more of a playmaker than Sanders. That's why he'll go ahead of Sanders. And I don't know how much Deion is involved in this. I really don't. How much do teams not want to deal with Deion's kid? Or, God forbid, deal with Deion? So I don't know how much that is going to be a thing.
If somebody's talented enough, you're likely willing to put up with anything.
But is he that talented? Because if this past NFL quarterback draft, the guys who went in the first round, Sanders would be graded ahead of none of them.
Right.
So, yes, it's almost like good looking for here, if you know what I'm saying. The old saying?
Yeah.
Good looking for here. This draft class is not great for quarterbacks, so is Sanders just good looking for here?
Fair point.
How much do you believe in him to be a true franchise quarterback that if you think Deion is a thing or the fact that he comes from Deion's genetics, is that a thing? I don't know. So far, I've read nothing but good stuff about it. So we'll see. Here's the interesting one to me is Jackson Dart. Rated number 3 by Jason Reed. Dart, if you look at Dart's numbers, you're like, oh, my God. Threw the ball down the field, completed a lot of passes, high percentage of completions, didn't throw a lot of picks. I mean, he can attack all 9 quadrants of the defensive backfield. But here's the interesting thing they said. Scouts have concerns about how much Lane Kiffin's offense prepares quarterbacks for the NFL. Kiffin knows how to scheme receivers open. 34% of Dart's passes this year being labeled as wide open attempts. That's the 11th best in the country.
Okay.
Quote from a scout. Passers in that offense are always hard to project because everything's so open. I think Dart has a nice arm, but there's hardly any progressions or throwing into tight windows because Lane schemes guys open so well.
Yeah, that's a good question. Let's think back over the past handful of years. What quarterbacks has he coached that have gone on to actually have success in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Think about it. Exactly.
I'm struggling here.
Exactly.
Now, he would have been there for the first year with Jalen Hurts at Alabama, but that was only year number one. He did not. He was not a developed NFL-esque quarterback at that point in time.
And remember, Jalen Hurts he started developing as a thrower more that last year at Alabama, playing behind Tua, a year with Lincoln Riley, and then the work he did in the NFL on his mechanics. It wasn't Lane Kiffin doing anything with him.
Who was his quarterback on those Southern Cal teams?
No one that did anything significantly in the NFL, I don't think. You're talking about the head when he was a head coach at Southern Cal.
Okay. Cody Kessler, no. Max Brown, no. Yeah. I mean,
so think about it for a minute.
Not a great track record here.
Right.
Matt Barkley,
Yeah. I mean, so really, it is the scheming of the offense more than the talent of the quarterback.
Yeah.
Now, again, could Jackson Dart break the mold? Sure, because, one of the things we talked about C.J. Stroud was just the same argument you're going to get from Will Howard at Ohio State that you had about C.J. Stroud was how much of this is going to be C.J. Stroud being such a high-level quarterback, or how much is it that all the Ohio State wide receivers are wide open all the time?
Good point.
And that's what they talked about with Will Howard.
I was going to say, and Stroud ended up kind of being the exception to what Ohio State quarterbacks have been for a little bit of time. Yeah, great in college, but they get the NFL and don't amount to much. He's obviously been able to buck that trend. But that's the perception he had around those type of quarterbacks for a while. And I had never really even thought about that, but I guess you say the same thing about Kiffin's quarterbacks.
35% of Howard's throws were looked at as wide open targets at Ohio State. So, again, the same percentages Ohio State goes to Ole Miss. And that's the thing about what you say with Jackson Dart, you say about Will Howard. Okay, basically you drop back in the pocket and you looked up, hey, progression one, guy's open, boom, throw the ball. What happens when you go, ooh, first guy's covered. Oh, second guy's covered. Oh, third guy, tight window. Oh, God, they're about to kill me in the pass rush. I got to throw in that tight window, and I got to let it go now.
Yep.
Ohio State quarterbacks have struggled with that. Lane Kiffin's quarterbacks have struggled with that. So it was an interesting thing when I read it. I was like, We talked about Jalen Milroe. Again, a lot of stuff with Milroe goes with Howard, too, is as soon as the pass rush starts, their eyes drop, and they're looking to take off. Milroe's got to learn how to use his mobility to buy time to make throws, not just to take off and run.
Yep.
Because sometimes he's leaving wide open receivers on the field because he just looks and then runs.
Apparently, scouts weren't overly impressed with what they saw in Mobile last week with him either.
Him or Dart.
Yeah.
Neither one kind of wowed anyone at the Senior Bowl. So another guy on this list is Kyle McCord at Syracuse, the former Ohio State quarterback. And what made him look so good, he's got the arm talent to throw the ball all over the place. But, his thing is sometimes he does make bad decisions. But at the end of the day, he showed everybody what he could do outside the Ohio State system.
It was like leader in FBS and passing yards this year.
I mean,
insane.
But sometimes he'll make a throw where everybody goes, huh? What the bleep was that, bro? But McCord helped himself by going and playing another system of offense outside Ohio State. Quinn Ewers was 7th on the list. And the thing with Ewers is, again, a lot of dinking and dunking. Didn't really throw the ball down the field a lot. They changed the offense to kind of fit Ewers.
Yeah.
Because Ewers throwing the ball down the field, he's always been inconsistent.
And look, you got explosive playmakers all around you at Texas. Point guard, get in the ball, let him do the rest.
Yep. So, again, what does Ewers do when he's got to do more as a quarterback? And Dylan Gabriel, God love him, just doesn't have a big arm. Not that tall, doesn't have a big arm. But what he can do, he's really good at it. But he's most likely would be a career backup in the NFL. He just doesn't have the arm strength to throw the ball all over the place. But had a heck of a year at Oregon.
Yes, he did.
He was ranked number 8 on this list. All right, we talk nothing but football in the 1 o'clock hour. Sponsored by Atlantic Windows and Doors. We'll come back. Firehouse Sub, text to the hour, 803-404-6100. Halftime show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head, David Dare steering the ship. We go till 3 on the game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
This is Andrew Perloff with a Sports Minute. The Lakers have a history of pulling off stunning moves. Think about trading for Kareem, the rights to draft Kobe Bryant, or signing Shaq and LeBron. Usually, these moves result in championships. Trading for Luka Doncic doesn't guarantee anything, but at 25 years old, he's the kind of rare talent that could change the trajectory of the franchise and the league. It would be a surprise if someday Luka is added to that incredible list of Lakers moves. I'm Andrew Perloff.
Buy 5 quarts of Castrol Edge Full Synthetic Motor Oil and get a $15 gift card after rebate, plus 2 times points at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's football season, and now you can get anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. Well, almost anything. You can't get a running back, but baby back ribs? Yes. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL.
In the U.S., more than 39 million men suffer from erectile dysfunction. Boston Scientific created edcure.com to help you find your best cure. To get started, go to edcure.com, take a quiz, and learn your severity or risk of ED. The fastest way to find your best cure is to contact an ED specialist by browsing a list of experienced physicians in your area. edcure.com. You're not alone. edcure.com is brought to you by Boston Scientific.
Do you have sagging, soft, or bouncy floors in your home? Well, this could be a sign of rotten wood caused by moisture in your crawl space. Damaged wood in your crawl space can affect your home's foundation, and that can affect your home's value, and nobody wants that. Say goodbye to sagging floors and hello to a stable foundation. Contact Canty today for your free inspection at 803-424-8380 or visit cantycanfixit.com.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And when you need more comfort for yourself, try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors.
Use as directed. Vapo Stick for use ages 4 and up. Vapo Shower Max use for adults only.
I occasionally have nerve discomfort in my hands, so the things I love to do...
Let's play something, Grandma.
...became difficult as I got older.
If you have occasional stabbing and burning in your hands and feet, try Nervive Nerve Relief. Nervive's clinically studied dose of alpha-lipoic acid reduces occasional nerve discomfort in as little as 7 days with continued daily use. Say yes to healthy nerves with Nervive Nerve Relief.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
The Halftime Show, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
It's time for Text of the Hour on the Firehouse Subs text line on the Halftime Show.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
And the 107.5 The Game app.
All right, time to roll our Firehouse Subtext of the hour at 803-404-6100. Again, men's basketball, no game this week.
In midweek.
Right, until the weekend. And then they'll jump back on it. The women, they will play Thursday against Georgia on our sister station, 98.5 WOMG here in Columbia, 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock tip. We have Carolina Calls, though, with Lamont Paris on Thursday at 6 p.m. On the game here in Columbia and our affiliate in Myrtle Beach, 100.3. All right, what you got there on the old Firehouse subtext line, 803-404-6100, pal?
Speaking of basketball, Walt weighs in and says, we cannot be praising 12 turnovers, 0-9 in conference play. Has to be somewhat of a coaching issue. What is it? Why is our offense so stagnant and sloppy?
You know, it is interesting when you look at what they're doing. And, you know, Lamont said after, the previous loss before the A&M game, when they lost to Georgia, he came off the court, I'm not dummying stuff down, I'm not going to dummy it down, I'm not going to dummy it down. But then he talked about going into the A&M game, and on Carolina calls about, streamlining and simplifying and things of that nature so the young guys can play and think less. And, they moved the ball really well early in the game, right?
Yep.
But they weren't getting Colin Murray-Boyles any shots, any touches. And part of that is A&M's not dumb. Who's the one guy we don't want to beat us? Colin Murray-Boyles, right?
Sure.
So I thought they moved the ball better. But, yeah, before it's all said and done, to the texter, and I don't want this to sound mean, I just don't think you've got high-level offensive players outside of Colin Murray-Boyles. Consistent high-level players. Every now, like Jamari Thomas has been really good since he got back from the injury, right?
He has, and the offense seems to have a little more flow to it, but it's not perfect. And look, going out and acquiring the talent, that is on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
You have to go out there and bring in guys that are going to fit what you want to do and run your offense effectively. And this past offseason, they did not do that to the degree they had the year before.
Again, you bring in Thomas. I know there were other guys you were going after. I get it. And sometimes you're chasing and you don't win the portal. You lose the portal.
That's the nature of it.
Thomas, you watch Thomas play. If you're watching these games, does Thomas have skills? Absolutely.
Sure.
But he's also under 6 feet tall.
Doesn't help.
How many times have you watched him, put the ball on the deck and drive into the paint, and he's engulfed?
Yeah.
He's engulfed by bigs.
He's lost in the trees.
Yeah, and he goes up to do something, and I wonder if it's because, when you play against certain size people, you play a certain way, and all of a sudden you go against bigger people than you're used to, and what worked before isn't working anymore.
You're asking to get your shot blocked, is what you are.
Because he's going in there with bad intentions, but he gets lost because, again, he's, 5'9", possibly?
They list him as 6 foot.
Yeah, I don't think so. And I just think
he's got his shoes on.
Yeah, his heels. I just think he's got skills. He's a nice player, but, he's just... He gets in there sometimes, and there's just nowhere to go because of his size.
Yep.
So that's a hindrance. If he was 6'2", we're not even. We're talking about a different whole spiel. Nick Pringle, he's kind of started to slowly disappear as time has gone on here.
He's got the height. He does not have the other build that necessarily you want from a physicality standpoint. Because again, he gets knocked around a lot.
Yeah, and he's, he played He had a certain role at Alabama. It was, screen and roll, rim runner, defender in the paint. Nick came here to show some other facets of his game.
Yeah, he wanted to be more involved in the offense.
And he wanted to show that he could, do stuff in the low post. He had some technical skills he wanted to let the world see. We've seen them, but not consistently.
And he has turnover issues.
Yes. No, the whole squad. So you look at those two guys you brought in, there are limitations on their offensive productivity. Fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jacoby Wright kind of is who he is. In a perfect world, he's first guard off the bench for you or second guard off the bench, and there are nights he can make some threes and give you a little something, but you're not relying on him every night. That's kind of who he is. And, Zach Davis, I think, is being asked to do too much than he really should be doing. I think, Zach Davis shooting the ball a lot's not in the best interest of Zach Davis. We went over those numbers last week. In games, Zach Davis has taken 10 or more shots. He's shooting under 40% from the floor and under 30% from three. It's like that play. It's like that guy in baseball, the dude you platoon. Let's say he's a lefty and bats against righties. But if you're forced to bat him against lefties, what happens? His effectiveness goes down because you show the holes in his game. Yep. I feel like the more Zach Davis is being aggressive on offense, the more you're showing some of the holes he had. And has Zach Davis gotten better? Absolutely. But I think you're asking him to try to do too much than you should be asking him to do, but that's because the other guys haven't been consistent. So to the answer of the texter, I just think you have guys, when you put this thing together, when we just broke it apart, right? Now you see why this offense is stagnant or it's limited, because of the guys that you're asking to do things really aren't able to do them consistently.
Yeah, and you got what you got at this point. You can't really go out and change it, and it doesn't seem like there's anybody on the bench that can really come in and take one of those spots.
I mean, you can change up your offense and maybe do some things different and tweak some stuff. Maybe you can play, Conyers and Scott more, or whatever the case. Ugasuk, who sometimes, can knock down some threes for you. But really, there's a limitation to what you have here. But again, to your point, that goes with the coaching staff buys the groceries, right?
Yep.
All right, what's trending at 2 is next on the halftime show here on The Game.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
What's up, Gamecocks? Ben Cato, third-generation owner of Cato's Power Equipment. We have an exciting new solution for those of you who have retention ponds, large hills, or overgrown land that needs clearing. Now available at Cato's Power Equipment, the all-new Gravely Ovis RC40 is a remote control, track-driven flail mower with a uniquely low center of gravity that makes easy work of hillsides and large brush. Whether you're interested in renting or purchasing, come schedule your free demo today at Cato's Power Equipment.
This is Bill Gunn for Old Timey Meat Market. I spend my nights with my son, my daughter, enjoying cooking out with Old Timey Meat Market Foods, and you need to visit one of their 3 locations, St. Andrews, South Congaree, and Lexington, where you'll find their shelves stocked with various cuts and grades of beef, pork, poultry, seafood, and of course, exotic meats. Selections are always fresh, never frozen, competitively priced, and of the absolute highest quality. So get all of your needs at Old Timey Meat Market.
Old Timey Meat Market. Quality selection, a cut above the rest.
Honey, would you take a seat? I have a confession to make.
What is it? What's wrong?
Well, I was out driving today and I saw some hookers on the side of the road. A bunch of huge, professional, beautiful-looking hookers. So I did what I was supposed to do. I slowed down and I moved over.
You slowed down for the hookers?
Well, yeah, it's the law. There was a whole fleet of Schroeder's towing trucks assisting with an accident. Wait, what did you think I was talking about?
Schroeder's Towing reminds you to slow down and move over for all first responders.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
You haven't tasted real Carolina barbecue until you've experienced Little Pig's Barbecue. Full service dine-in buffet with barbecue, ribs, brisket, chicken, rice, hash, tomato pie, macaroni and cheese, and many more of your favorites. Eat in or take out. Little Pig's Barbecue on Alpine Road has new hours. Now open from 11 to 8 Thursday through Saturday and 11 to 3 on Sunday. Little Pig's Barbecue on Alpine Road. Little Pig's family looks forward to seeing you. Host your next event at Hilton Garden Inn downtown for a seamless and memorable experience. Whether it's a corporate meeting, training session, family reunion, or wedding, their flexible meeting space can accommodate up to 320 people and is equipped with top-notch audio-visual equipment. With on-site catering services, you can focus on your event, while Hilton Garden Inn takes care of the rest. Contact the sales department at 803-227-3400 to book your event and enjoy the comfort, convenience, and hospitality of Hilton Garden Inn, Columbia downtown.
Need a roof? Trust Crescent Construction. With over 20,000 roofs installed and counting, they've got the experience you need. They specialize in residential roofing, commercial roofing, and general contracting. Visit CrescentCarolina.com today for free estimates and free inspections. That's right, no cost, no commitment. Crescent Construction, quality you can count on. For all your roofing and construction needs, visit CrescentCarolina.com now.
Looking for a great job with a winning team? Join American Italian Pasta Company, part of Winland Foods, right here in Columbia, where they've been proudly producing Mueller's pasta for nearly 30 years. They offer competitive pay, great benefits like 401k match, and paid parental leave. They're hiring industrial multi-craft maintenance techs, packaging, and press operators. Positions available on both first and second shifts. A high school diploma or GED and manufacturing experience are required. Apply today at winlandfoods.com/careers and grow with us.
Are you a Gamecock fan that's looking for flexibility to attend the games you want without committing to season tickets? If so, the Gamecock Go Pass is for you. For only $20 a month, your Gamecock Go Pass subscription provides you with access to all non-conference football games, most men's and women's basketball and baseball games, and all softball, soccer, and volleyball games. Plus, you have the ability to add on tickets for conference football games and premier basketball and baseball games for an additional cost. To learn more and sign up today, visit thegamecockclub.com/go.
Your home for the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNK
What's Trending at 2.
Sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry and Gamecock Traditions.
2 locations in Lexington and Sandhills on the Halftime Show. Your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia. 107.5 The Game. Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach and 100.5 The Game in Florence.
Halftime show. What's Trending at 2, sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry and Gamecock Traditions. Home of the over-under contest. Just go to 1075thegame.com. Look at that little flippy thingy. When you see the Gamecock Traditions over-under contest, click it. Every week there'll be a different over-under.
It's not a very scientific description, that flippy thingy.
It's a flippy thingy. You just have that flippy thingy and you click on it.
Sure, there's a proper word for it.
It's like media reel or promo reel or something.
See, that sounds more professional. We're
I
professionals.
like flippy thingy. Flippy thingy, because it flips. It does. It sits there for a couple seconds and it flips.
It does, but has a proper name.
Flippy thingy. So I'm sticking with it, man.
Okay.
It's like I go with conversate. Drives my girlfriend insane.
Sure.
I'll go, yeah. I see somebody. I go, yeah, I'll conversate with them. And she'll go, that's not a word. I go, no, it is. And I'll Google it, and I'll say, see, it's a word. It drives her crazy.
How long does she put up with you now?
I do it now just to drive her nuts. Because even in the description, it'll say, yes, that is a word, but it's not recommended to use.
Okay.
But it is a word, but I just use it just to drive her crazy. You know, I'll say, hey, why don't you Googleize that? And she goes, that's not a word.
Boy, she really won, didn't she?
She sure did, pal. Let me tell you, every day. Jackpot.
Thank God he's 4 states away.
No doubt. Relationship's never been better. All righty, so men and women over the weekend. The men lost to Texas A&M. The women took out Auburn. Asia Wilson gets her due or her flowers, like Dawn Staley said. I thought it was cool all the players were wearing the Wilson jersey. I thought it was cool.
That was neat.
Yeah, by the way, South Carolina, before we move forward, the new AP poll, not that it matters, UCLA is still number 1, all 32 first-place votes, the only undefeated team left in the country. I was wrong. UConn has got 2 losses. They're 21-2. Texas has also got 2 losses. So does Notre Dame. Southern Cal got beat by Iowa, TCU. There's a bunch of teams with 2 losses. Mm-hmm. Kentucky, by the way, is 19-2. Right now, UCLA is the only undefeated team in the country. South Carolina and LSU, also Ohio State, are the only 3 with 1 loss. And then you have a bunch of squads with 2 losses. Like we were throwing in a bunch of them. So that's kind of where you're at. AP poll, again, South Carolina sitting at 2, UCLA, top spot, all 32 first-place votes for the Bruins. So that's where it's at with that. Like we said, a nice victory for the women on Sunday, beating Auburn. Here's Dawn Staley post-game, Dave. Let's go to Dawn Staley, cut 10, talking about a ton of fast break points in this game. Auburn turned the ball over 23 times. South Carolina cashed it in a lot. Here's Dawn talking about the fast break points again. Cut 10, Dave.
We needed it. I think someone asked me, what do I want to see more out of our defense? And I said just that, just producing points with our defense. Like, we can guard you in the half court. You know, we can disrupt you. We can force you into bad shots. Right? That doesn't mean it is automatic a score down the other end. What we did today was we produced points from our defense. We knocked the ball loose. We got steals. Into easy baskets, and it alleviated some of the pressure of having having to execute in a half-court offense, because they disrupted us. They were in us. They pressured us. They forced us out. They didn't allow us to just make, passes from point A to B to C. You had to find a way, and some of that was just having to go one-on-one. Just put your head down and go. And we dribbled a whole lot. So I said their pressure will be affecting us if we're dribbling a whole lot, and we did a whole lot of that tonight.
Yeah, and the half-court offense wasn't at its best, but to the point, all the fast break scores by South Carolina. And they got out, and when you get out and you start running, and you got Malaysia Fulwali flying down the court, either filling the lane on the wing or bringing it down on a break after a steal, I mean, and there was a couple times she didn't convert. Like one time she got a steal. She just plain out swiped it from the Auburn guard, went the other way, but couldn't finish the layup. I mean, they get moving the way they did against Auburn and start getting steals and forcing turnovers and hitting the break with that talent that South Carolina has on the perimeter. I mean, that was a thing.
Yep.
On Sunday. It really was. It was fun to watch once they got cooking defensively and started forcing some turnovers and getting some fast break opportunities. But then the flip side is, and this is cut 11, Dave, Dawn talking about the offense and the issues the offense had against Auburn. You heard a little bit of Dawn saying it here in that last cut, but here Dawn really focuses on some of the offensive problems against Auburn.
Well, I think it had everything to do with Auburn's defense because we promote ball reversals, we promote passing the basketball. They stayed on it for the entire game. Like they made us go into our second, third, fourth options in our sets. If you saw a set out there, they made us go into our spread offense where we're just reading and reacting to how we're being guarded. We had to do a lot of that today, so it's not all that pretty, but you know, their defense was pretty effective. So we found a way to win. We found a way to put, 83 points on the scoreboard, not having to run basically a whole lot of half-court sets.
Yeah, I mean, the turnovers and the defense turning into offense was huge, and a lot of dribbling for South Carolina in the half court. And the more you dribble, everybody stands there and they watch you dribble. Mm-hmm. Nobody's moving. So, but again, you score 83 points.
Yeah.
It's just like, well, you know, this or that wasn't right, or that or this didn't happen, and you score 83.
It's so hard to nitpick things with this team because, again, you're talking about a game that you still won by 17. And I think maybe having a couple of extra days off after playing Tennessee, a week ago now may have had something to do with that, why you didn't come out quite as effective. But again, I don't doubt their ability to get those things cleaned up when they play Texas or UConn or in these other ranked teams to close out the season where they shouldn't have a problem.
Joyce Edwards led the way like she's been lately with 18 points. Let's get this real quick. Cut 19, Dave. Joyce Edwards on playing in front of Asia Wilson, who obviously was honored on Sunday. Again, cut 19.
I mean, I guess it was an honor, like you just said. We did that in front of her. I mean, she literally paved the way for us to be here. So I kind of feel like it was a little bit of a full circle moment for her, too, because she's watching, what she built, what she created. So just as much as, I'm honored to play in front of her, I feel like she was just honored to watch us play.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun to play in front of an iconic player that, was ahead of you and helped pave the way of all the things that have gone on in South Carolina. In Asia Wilson. And, I mean, Joyce Edwards is just every game, man.
Yeah.
Every game.
And if you watch the game on TV, you heard Asia Wilson, say, hey, she's the next one. She's going to be the one with statue. She's going to be the one getting her jersey retired. She's going to be the best in the world one day. And obviously that's very high praise, for somebody that hasn't even completed their first year in college basketball. But again, from what we've seen up to this point, again, we don't know what her career is going to become, but it's hard to argue that she came in great and is only getting better and better as the weeks go by and has molded herself into being the best on this team or one of the best on this team. And, when you get in the tournament and going forward, she's going to be one of the key pieces of that.
All right, so the women will go at it again Thursday, 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock tip against Georgia. You can hear it on our sister station, 98.5 WOMG. The men, Lamont Paris describes it best. Let's get cut one from Lamont Paris, Dave. Coach Paris says it's like Groundhog Day.
Well, in some ways it feels like some level of Groundhog's Day. But again, our guys played with a lot of energy, tremendous amount of energy, played extremely hard, played well enough. Ultimately, my goal has always been no matter how good a team we have, and I've been on teams as an assistant and as a head coach where we're the prohibitive favorites, and my goal always is when you look up and it's crunch time, that one way or another, you're right there with a opportunity to make a couple of plays to win the game, and that was another. We did it again today. We found ourselves in that situation, and then we've just struggled to make those plays. And those plays, what's difficult with it is those plays end up being a different play in a lot of different games. You know, even today we had the one in succession pretty much where we, under a minute, maybe under 30 seconds even, we're down. We gave up an offensive rebound at the free throw line. You have to count that's going to be secured at that time. We didn't. We gave up 2 more points. We bring the ball down and we turn it over. And so really on our own volition on that one. So it's harder to pinpoint what those are. But, you know, we'll have a week here to pretty much focus solely on what we do and the things that we do and that we need to get better at, regardless of who our opponent is on an everyday basis.
Yeah, that was a tough spot in the game. I think it was Jace Carter missed 2 free throws for A&M. He's like a 40-some% free throw shooter. Missed them both, but A&M, you know, knocks the ball out, and they get the offensive rebound. And then they scored deuce off that possession, and then Zach Davis came down and dribbled the ball off his leg or foot or knee or whatever.
Take a drink every time that happens.
Yeah, you need to call an Uber. So again, these are moments in these games where you got to make plays. I like the fact that it took almost the entire first half. They started to get Colin Murray-Boyles involved. Colin Murray-Boyles started to be more active. That pass he made when he was triple teamed out to Ugasuk for the 3 was so sweet.
Yeah, and look, they did a really good job containing him for almost the entire first half, but once he finally broke loose, his first score came with 4:18 to go until halftime. He went on a run, scored 10 points in those 4 minutes before the half, had 12 points in the second half. Again, he is your best player. And if you're going to be successful, he has to be successful. There were still times, though, throughout that game, and this was another instance of you know, Zach Davis mishandling the ball where he passed it to him near the rim, and he immediately fumbles the ball out of bounds. So that's one of those instances. Is that the reason why he lost the game? Not necessarily, but how much more valuable would have an extra layup been? Because he was on the way to the basket. He would have gotten it if he hangs on the ball instead of trying to dish it out to Zach Davis there.
Yeah, Zach Davis, 3 turnovers in the game. Let's see, also Nick Pringle had 3. Now, South Carolina only, and I put only in air quotes, only had 12. And that's a step in the right direction with what we've been seeing. But again, you look at some of the numbers. Gamecocks, 83% from the line. They shot 38% from 3. That's really good. You know, 45% from the floor is, but Colin Murray-Boyles, you want your best player taking the most shots. CMB had 16 field goal attempts. And really it was 11 to 15 because that last one was just he's throwing up at the rim before the buzzer went off.
Yep.
Only took 1 3 and missed it. But CMB got a shot. I mean, right now you want Jamari Thomas to take the second most shots on your team. Now, in a perfect world, you don't want your point guard taking 13 shots, but that's where you're at right now with this team. So you had your 2 best players take 29 of your shots. That's over half of your attempts, I believe, in the basketball game. Ugasuk was phenomenal from 3, going 4 or 7. And Davis hit 3 threes, Thomas hit 3 threes. So you have enough things in here, Tyler, where you go, you know what? That's all right. I mean, A&M barely beat you on the boards and only had 1 more offensive rebound than you.
You finally got over 70 points for the first time in conference play, so you did a lot of things right. Again, it just was not quite enough. And again, A&M had a career day, or White Taylor the Fourth specifically had a career day shooting threes, something that they weren't really doing a whole lot of successfully going into that game.
Yeah, the worst 3-point shooting team maybe in the country hit 11 threes and shot almost 48% from 3. Taylor, who had gone through a streak a couple weeks ago, he was like 3 of 23 from 3. That dude on Saturday beat Steph Curry in a 3-point shooting contest. That's how well Wade Taylor shot on Saturday. And that's just a thing you're running into right now. Guys have career days against you. This happens against you. A team that never does this right against you. It's when you fall into this pit, these are the kind of things that start happening to you. It was a shame because, again, right there, only lost by 4. It was a 1-possession game late. What's trending at 2, sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry and Gamecock. Traditions, Joe and Hole will get you on the Love Chevy phone line, 803-404-6100. Also, we'll get back to the gigantic news of the weekend, this Luka Doncic trade. We got to get into that. And at the NBA, they're going crazy trading guys. So we'll get into that as well. It's the halftime show. Terry Ford, Tyler Head, David Ayer on the game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
This is Larry Leitner, owner and founder of Midstate Roofing, and for nearly 30 years, we've continued to be the proven leader in the roofing and waterproofing industry. Midstate Roofing's proven history is your assurance that our professionals at Midstate Roofing will provide the proper advice, service, and results to the needs of your facility in a manner both safe and pleasing to your operation. From high-rise to hospitals, manufacturing to industrial, Midstate Roofing designs and installs bonded systems with a protective guarantee that will keep your operation dry and running long into the future. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
And this is Blake Leitner, reminding you to protect that roof with a maintenance contract. Call me today at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. That's midstateroofing.com.
You'll speak to an on-call technician after hours or a Midstate Roofing staff member during hours at 803-356-1919 or online at midstateroofing.com. And as always, tell them Midstate Twins.
If you have a leak, let Midstate Roofing take a peek.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. The best selection of new Chevys. Right now. No hassle, no ridiculous add-on stickers. I-26 at Harbison and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
Come see the entire line of GE appliances at 1421 Atlas Road. Jeffers McGill offers the best customer service and lowest price on every GE make and model, including GE Profile, Monogram, and Cafe brands. Jeffers McGill and GE, your home team.
For appliances with Reliances, that's Jeffers McGill.
Have you had a broken windshield compliments of those South Carolina roads? The insurance company might try to steer you one way, to the big national guy. But remember, it's your choice. Go local. Call Absolute Glass.
We can repair your car back to factory specifications, including recalibrating all of your safety systems. We do great work and have been building long-lasting relationships for over 20 years.
That's why we've been voted Best Glass Company in Lexington for 15 straight years. Visit us online at AbsoluteGlassInc.com or call us at 951-7200. And remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Premium, by definition, a product of superior quality and therefore a higher price. SweetDeals.com's new Premium tab is here to break all the rules. Premium products without the extra cost. Designer handbags, luxury cruises, autographed sports memorabilia, gift cards to your favorite eateries, stores, and more. Priced up to 70% off. Premium just got affordable to all. Shop, score, save. Up to 70% off. SweetDeals.com. Click on the Premium tab and reward yourself today.
Get a free second pair of glasses with insurance at iMart Express. Now with an upgraded selection of over 150 frames to choose from. Pick one for when you're busy doing nothing, and one for when you're up for anything. Plus, with free same-day speed, go from booking an eye exam to walking out with new glasses in a blink. So you can take your vision benefits further, faster. iMart Express. Get glasses, go see.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, the ultimate lunch lineup boasts wall-to-wall sports and scenic views. When you're hungry and in a hurry, the Scratch Kitchen delivers lunch in the clutch. I mean, where else can you order a 29-degree draft beer and a quickie combo on your lunch break? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Twin Peaks Scratch Kitchen scores every time. Dig into hand-smashed burgers, chef-inspired flatbreads, and more at your local lodge.
Seeing dust on your baseboards? Give your home a big refresh and call Zera's Air Duct Cleaning. Right now, mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, and you'll get $75 off your next air duct cleaning. Use promo code AIR75 when scheduling online at ZerasColumbia.com.
What's trending at 2?
Sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry and Gamecock Traditions.
2 locations in Lexington and Sandhills on the Halftime Show on the Game Network.
All right, what's trending at 2, sponsored by Traditions Fine Jewelry, Gamecock Traditions. Again, the Gamecock Tradition over-under contest. Over-under this week, Joyce Edwards, South Carolina on Thursday, I believe. Against Texas.
Sunday is Texas.
Yeah, against Texas on Sunday.
We got to do something that's going to last the entire week.
Yeah. Over-under 15.5 points versus Texas for Joyce Edwards.
By the way, against Texas last time, she scored 10.
There you go.
Makes you think.
So over-under for Joyce Edwards, 15.5. So you got the week to go on 1075thegame.com. Go to the media promo reel.
There it is.
The flippy thingy.
Not the flippy thing.
The flippy thingy. And once you see the contest, click on it, fill it out, pick your over-under. And if you get that right, you go into a pool of folks, and Gamecock Traditions will draw a winner. So it's our Gamecock Traditions over-under contest. All right, what's trending at 2, we've hit on the Luka trade on and off through the day because it's a trade that, like you said, and I think you hit on the head, no matter if you're a huge NBA fan or not, the fact you know who Luka Doncic is, if you're a sports fan and you're like, wow, they traded that guy?
You can look at that and say, well, that doesn't make sense.
It's kind of weird. We talked about earlier in the show of, was really the trade because of his lack of conditioning, their frustration over his lack of conditioning and nutrition or his care. And then we heard the words attitude and culture being thrown around and things of that nature. And I said I wouldn't have made the deal because you don't trade a talent that's 25 years old.
No.
You just don't do it.
God, what? Still another potentially 10 to 15 years of high-level basketball?
When you have a guy who starts his career and his career arc is being talked about along with the names Wilt Chamberlain and Oscar Robertson, you traded that guy. Now Anthony Davis is an all-NBA player. So you didn't trade him for, like, a bunch of, jerkies from the Y.
Yep.
Anthony Davis is, when Anthony Davis is interested and he's healthy, Anthony Davis is a phenomenal two-way player.
And he's having a very good season.
Yes. But right now he's injured.
He is, as is Luka.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's a reason why Anthony Davis is called day-to-day Davis.
Yeah.
But he's a high-level player. But the thing to me, again, like, with this whole deal, we haven't even really focused on the Laker part. The Maverick part is if Kyrie Irving and Anthony Davis are healthy and interested and Kyrie Irving doesn't go flat earther or anything like loony, that team can absolutely win a couple of rounds in the NBA playoffs. There's no doubt.
Sure.
But you're banking on a couple of things to happen for you. And Anthony Davis is, just not to get too basketball dorky, he wants to play power forward. He doesn't want to play center. You know what he's better at? Playing center.
Mm-hmm.
All the numbers say it. The deep dive scouting says it. Just all the results say Anthony Davis is better playing center, and your team is better if Anthony Davis plays center. Anthony Davis doesn't want to. He wants to play power forward. He's going to play power forward with the Mavs. So he's going to play a position he's not as good at. And how's that going to affect that team? Because they got two centers. So there's a clunky positional fit there anyway. But the Mavs, if those guys are healthy and they're interested, the Mavs are going to be a good team. The Laker thing is interesting. The Lakers have no center now. They have no bigs at all. They just got rid of their one big. They really don't have a big. And how does Luka and LeBron, how does that work? Because, again, LeBron, whenever he's in a superstar situation, he's the dude.
Mm-hmm.
And the other superstars get in line with LeBron. The Lakers just brought in the future of the franchise while the president of the franchise is there. So how does this work with Luka and with LeBron? Now, in Dallas, it was Luka and Kyrie, right?
Yep.
But we knew who the top dog was there, Luka.
Sure.
And Kyrie, to his credit, found a way to fit in year two, pretty seamless after a rocky year one. How's this going to work? And everybody says, well, no one takes care of their body like LeBron. And it's true. What's the thing, $1 million a year he spends on?
Yeah, I think he has negative body fat or something like that.
He's like -5 body fat. He's got the body of a 19-year-old or whatever. The guy's nuts.
Yeah, look, there's a reason he can still play high-level basketball at the age of 40.
Right. So everybody said, well, Luka will learn from LeBron. You only learn if you're open to learning.
Yes. Now, putting him around somebody like that could.
He might
but
see the way.
But there's no guarantees. Like, hey, enjoy your vegan cupcakes. I'm going to go drink some more beer.
Right. LeBron's sitting there eating a big jar of like avocados or something while these guys hooked up to all these monitors and he's sitting in a cryogenic chamber and Luka's sitting next to it, holding a beer in his hand and a cigarette and he's knocking off some honey buns. And so it'll be interesting to see how this goes in L.A. Now, again, did the Lakers get their next face? Yes. And then I'll go tinfoil helmet with you because we got to get to that real quick.
I did like where you went with this.
The tinfoil helmet is the NBA needs the Lakers to be relevant. The Lakers right now are a team with 1-loss record. Haven't done a lot. I mean, they got to the Western Conference Finals a couple years ago out of the play-in. But no one looks at them as a true championship-level team anymore.
No, I mean, and look, they won the bubble championship, which I don't think anybody really puts a lot of credit behind, but since then they've just been an okay to good team. But you never think about them as the threat that they were, with Shaq and Kobe and stuff like that back in the day. This could potentially get them back to that level, and also the secession, because again, LeBron's only going to play for a couple more years. He's playing with his son right now. Maybe in the next couple of years he decides to retire and go on to his next venture. Now you have another high-level superstar that can take the crown from him as far as leading that organization into its future. That way you have another superstar in L.A.
Two marquee franchises in the NBA, Boston, L.A. The NBA likes it when Boston and L.A. are really good.
It's ratings.
They like it when L.A. has superstar player.
Yep.
Because that's, superstars in L.A. The tinfoil helmet crew is saying that the reason that Dallas didn't talk to any other teams is because the NBA told them to deal Luka to the Lakers. That's why they didn't talk to. Because again, the idea here is you should build market value on a trade by getting as many suitors as possible. How many teams would want to give you an offer for Luka Doncic?
Yeah.
Right. So why didn't Dallas investigate any other trade avenues? And again, the conspiracy theory, people will say that's because the league told them to trade Luka to L.A. Just throw that out there. I don't believe it, but again, there you go. Let's grab a call real quick. 803-404-6100, Love Chevy phone line. Rocky has been patiently holding on. Rocky, we appreciate you calling the halftime show. How you doing?
Hey, Terry. Good afternoon, and you as well. It's not Elijah. I'm sorry, Tyler.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Tyler.
Oh, good.
I'm calling actually about the trade, but let me just say very quickly about the Gamecock men's basketball team. And sometimes you just have one of those seasons, and in my playing days, I had one of those where you just play all these close games and you figure out how to lose.
Yes.
Versus how to win. And then, you think, and I'm feeling this with this team because we came back during when I played, and we came back next year instead of winning 12, we won 24 with the same people. So you go from not learning how to lose to learning how to win. So that seems to be what they're going on with the Gamecock basketball team. They're playing, but they're just finding ways to lose. But
yes.
Nonetheless, on this trade, and Terry, I wanted to talk to you specifically on. You're from the D.C., Baltimore area up there in Northeast, so you've seen and covered your share of NBA basketball. And so I'm looking at this trade, Luka. I think the Lakers came out better, and here's why. Luka is a Hall of Famer, okay? Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. He's on that track. Yes, he is.
Anthony Davis is not. This is my opinion. Only because, when he's healthy, you just said it. He is a specimen. He can play when he wants to, but the question is, he's being hurt. Now, Luka obviously is, but Luka's one. He's the guy I love him so much because he reminds me of the guy that goes to the gym on the weekend, 3 hours, schools everybody all together, and then says, "Oh, by the way, I got a case of beer in the trunk of my car. Everybody enjoy it."
Yes.
My kind of player. You hear me?
Hey, he's that guy, Rocky. You look at him as he's leaning against the wall. He's probably like smoking a heater, and then he puts it out, and he comes out there and crushes everybody for 2 hours, and then he leaves with a heater and, like you said, a case of beer. Absolutely.
That's what he reminds me of, and I'm saying him going to L.A. with LeBron. LeBron doesn't want to have to do it. Luka, you want to do – now, nobody plays defense anyway. I had a buddy of mine. I got into, I know you probably, but I got into a little debate, and he said AD was all defense, however much time. Okay, that's great. Now, what's all defense in today's NBA versus when I watched it in the 80s and the 90s and the 70s, when Mahorn's all defense, Jordan's all defense, Rodman's all defense.
Oh, yeah. I'm with you, Rocky. No, I hear you. I know where you're going. And by the way, Luka has like the worst defensive metrics almost of any perimeter guy in the NBA. But again, that's a Hall of Fame talent. I'm with Rocky. I think the Lakers made out here. No way I'd have traded him if I'm the Mavs. All right. Greatest day in the history of the world next here on the Halftime Show in the Game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
Is your child struggling in school? Do you know a student 16 to 19 years of age who has dropped out, lacks discipline, or is on a destructive path? Then give the Will Lou Gray Opportunity School a try. The military-style school provides an alternative education to young adults in need of a second chance by offering academic instruction by state-certified teachers and job-based training. Students live on campus during the 14-week program, which is virtually free. For more information, contact 803-896-6480 or at willlougray.org.
Looking for a tow that won't drive you insane? Schroeder's Towing has got your back and then some. With almost 1,500 Google reviews and a near 5-star rating, Schroeder's Towing is practically the most respected hookers in town. Whether you're stuck on the side of the road or just need a lift, our reliable service is always ready to roll. Call Schroeder's Towing today.
Schroeder's Towing, the best and fastest hookers in town.
Some mornings have me struggling to get out of bed. But thanks to McDonald's, now I have 3 delicious reasons to psych myself up for the day ahead. With the 2 for $5 mix and match deal, I can choose from the breakfast classics Mickey D's is known for. From the sizzling sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddles, to a sausage McMuffin with egg, to a bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. Ooh, what you waiting for? Get out of bed, sleepyhead, and make your way to Mickey D's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Prices and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
What you're talking about. Sponsored by Love Chevrolet. Check out the Season of Love at South Carolina's #1 volume Chevy dealer, I-26 in Harbison, and at lovechevy.com. Together, let's drive.
It's really been amazing, the amount of people that I've had contact me, and the talk is generally centered around QC Kinetics, and whether it's a knee, whether it's a back, a hip, shoulder.
He's always happy to talk about how QC Kinetics all-natural regenerative treatments finally gave him relief without surgery. That's former pro football player Bobby Carpenter.
My message to them is do not wait and push off a week, a month, whatever it is. So if you want to feel better this summer, now would be the time to get in. If you want to feel better in the fall, make sure that you're getting in here so you can go out and play golf and do the things that you love and enjoy.
Spoken by a man who experienced relief firsthand. QC Kinetics gave this former pro athlete back his mobility, his activity, and they'll do the same for you.
Has really helped me in just my general quality of life.
Don't wait. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation today. QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 803-281-6860. That's 803-281-6860. 803-281-6860.
Flowers and chocolates are okay, but insanely clean home from Zerorez Carpet Cleaning is sure to impress your loved one. Only Zerorez uses ZR water to clean your carpets and other surfaces without harsh chemicals. To make things sweeter, they leave 0 residue so your carpets stay cleaner longer. From now until Valentine's Day, get 2 rooms for free when you book 2 rooms for only $119. Call and mention me, Bill Gunner, at 107.5 The Game, or book online at zerorezcolumbia.com.
Is your crawl space damp or musty? Water in your crawl space can cause wood to rot and creates an environment for mold and mildew that can make its way inside your home. Canty Foundation Specialist specializes in crawl space repair. Call us today for your free inspection so you can have the peace of mind knowing your crawl space is dry and your home is protected. Call today, 803-424-8380, or visit cantycanfixit.com.
Hardee's is adding the goodness of maple flavor to our menu with new maple biscuits drizzled in sweet icing or stacked with savory sausage. Plus, our new cherry wood smoked maple candied bacon is perfect on a breakfast biscuit, Frisco burger, or its own. For a sweet spot in your day, maple makes everything better at Hardee's. And now enjoy breakfast till noon every day. Available for a limited time at participating locations. Breakfast hours vary by location.
The Halftime Show, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
The greatest day in the history of the world on The Halftime Show.
Greatest day in the history of the world, February 3rd. I lost track. When is Groundhog Day?
Wasn't it the second?
Was it yesterday?
I think it's the second.
I can't remember.
Let me see. I know... There's like 5 of them now, so I don't know who we're supposed to.
I guess we go the original there in Punxsutawney.
You know, as superstitious as I am, I've never invested in what a groundhog's opinion of winter is.
See,
by the way, it was yesterday.
Yesterday, they are AMS certified, right?
More than Jay.
Jay believes a groundhog more than a meteorologist.
Classic Jay.
What happened? Did he see? I didn't even pay attention.
I think I don't even remember which one's which. Whichever one that says that winter's going to hang around longer, I think that's what happened. Again, I didn't even really. Coach Paris' ground day comment was the only that's this weekend. That's the only. I don't anxiously wait for the gopher to come out of the hole or groundhog.
I told you, man. I
mean, great movie.
It's a
obviously.
great movie, and when I went to actual. To actually experience Groundhog Day in Punxsutawney. I told you, all it was a bunch of people getting drunk around a groundhog.
Well, I mean, anybody, we will use any excuse to turn anything into a drinking holiday, right?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. I mean, people forget how many colleges are around Punxsutawney.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of college students going there and getting liquored up and dancing around the bonfire.
Guess what? It's freezing cold in Pennsylvania this time of year. Mm-hmm. So why not?
Oh, you go there I'll never forget getting off that bus when we took those listeners when I was working in Youngstown. I walked out, I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. It was craziness. And it was like, oh yeah, there's the groundhog.
I was going to say, it's like you sell the T-shirt, I got hammered on Groundhog Day and never saw groundhog.
Well, that's what we used to buy. I remember I had the T-shirt going to the Preakness in Baltimore.
Exactly, never saw a horse.
Never saw a horse.
Exactly.
That's what Punxsutawney is.
Saw a guy run on top of porta potties.
Yeah. While people threw beer bottles at me.
Yeah, but never saw a horse.
There's a Traveler's Rest groundhog here in South Carolina, but I haven't seen what he said this year.
There's one here. There's one in Georgia. There's one in Staten Island.
Dave, it's your job to get the results before 3.
Get
them, Dave.
Do we have to get a consensus?
That's what we're going to do right now.
They can't all agree on the same thing.
We're going to get Dave to pull the consensus.
Do we get a power poll rating here? This year Phil is number 1 and Beauregard Lee in Georgia is number 2. How do we do this?
I don't know. But we will have Dave's going to tally up all the groundhogs and see if we got something consistent here.
Okay.
So anyway, greatest day in the history of the world, February 3rd. On this day in 1980, the first 3-point shot in the history of the NBA All-Star Game was hit by a certain player who is very, very well known. 1980. A guy who was known for his 3-point shooting ability or long-range jump shooting ability. It will not shock you. Larry Bird.
Sounds about right. If there was one, and so it's the first time in the All-Star game.
Yep.
If there was ever anybody to receive that honor, it's nobody should have attempted it before him.
Mm-hmm.
It's Larry's got to get the first one.
Yeah, you can't shoot a 3. Why?
Yeah. Larry's got to get it. Once he gets it, free range.
There's great stories about Larry Bird doing the 3-point shooting contest at the All-Star game. Because obviously it wasn't there in the beginning, but then once they started doing the 3-point shooting contest, and Bird would walk in the locker room and look at them all and go, "So, which one of you bleepers is going to finish second?" Because the winner just walked in.
Well, imagine how intimidating that must be.
Yeah, and he won it, man. He won multiple 3-point shooting contests. By the way, the trash talk of Larry Bird is so famous.
I've heard about this.
And because you look at Bird and you wouldn't think that, right? The hick from French Lick and all that stuff. You figure he's a nice Midwestern boy and all that stuff. Oh, no.
Not quite.
He was he was a trash talker like nobody's business. I even saw a thing about it on ESPN. It was part of the Celtic 30 for 30, I think. And they showed the moment. I forget who they were playing against. And just some reserve from the other team off the bench, they put on Bird. And Bird comes walking out, and they're getting ready to put the ball in play. And Bird looks over at the guy who's guarding him. And Bird looks at the opposing bench. He's like, "You're putting this guy on me? Are you serious?" He looks at the dude, and he goes, "Okay, I'm going to get the ball. I'm going to take a jab step to my right, and then I'm going to pull back, and I'm going to shoot a three from right over there, and you're not going to do anything about it." Bird gets the ball, does exactly what he says, knocks down the game-winning three, looks at the bench, looks at the opposing bench, and walks off the court. The stuff he would say to guys as he's killing them,
it
was unreal. Quite the trash talker was our boy Larry Bird. All right, this day in 1982, Steve Mayer, the twin brother of overall skiing champ Phil Mayer, becomes the first American male skier to win a gold medal at the Olympics or World Championship competition. He beats a legend, a guy named Ingemar Stenmark of Sweden, in the giant slalom at the Worlds in 1982. One reason I read that is, American skiing has come a long way. It has gotten better. And two, I had a buddy of mine. We went to a ski lodge back in, like late 80s. And we were young and stupid. And we're sitting there at the lodge, and our friends are going out to actually ski. I had more interest in the lodge than I had the slope because it was warmer in there, and they had beverages. And my buddy was sitting there, and he's talking to these girls, and they asked him what his name was, and he was like, "I'm Phil Mayer." And they're like, "Oh, are you the skier?" "I'm Phil Mayer."
Couldn't Google it. Couldn't whip out the phone and Google it real quick.
There was no Google. So basically, he was Phil Mayer, Olympic ski champion, with these girls at the bar in Pennsylvania at a ski lodge.
You're probably thinking, "Dang, why didn't I think of that?"
I was really annoyed that he beat me to it. I was like, I hate you. He nailed it. All right. Also, a lot of stuff going on this day when it comes to Super Bowl. Adam Vinatieri kicks a 48-yard field goal as time expires. The Patriots, they beat the Rams 20-17 in a huge upset. People forget something.
It was the beginning of the dynasty.
Yes, that the Rams were favored. They were the greatest show on turf with Mike Martz as the head coach. No one thought New England had a chance with this young, unproven quarterback named Tony Brady, whatever the hell his name is.
Yeah, some backup.
Yeah, some guy. And the Patriots won. It started the Patriot dynasty.
That was back when it was a cute story. Like, oh man, how cool is that? Backup quarterback, this guy that had never really done much with the Browns at head coach. How cool is it? We love this. And then a couple years later, can't stand these guys.
Hate these guys. Hate them all.
A bunch of cheaters. That's what they are.
On this day in 2008, we talked about this earlier. Eli Manning and the Giants beat the Patriots and end the unbeaten season, 17-14. I would say that win and the Jets win in Super Bowl III, where my dad will tell you it was fixed.
Okay.
Those are two biggest upsets in the history of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I would say those two. 2013, speaking of Baltimore, the Ravens, they survived that stupid power outage, and they beat the 49ers 34-31 in a wild football game.
Well,
Ravens had a huge lead, 28-6, and almost blew it.
Yeah, because Roger Goodell turned out the lights to make sure the Ravens could come back.
Exactly. He hated the Ravens.
Yeah. Or Beyonce used all the power at halftime, whatever you choose to believe.
Right. I'm just picturing Goodell pulling this big cord out of the wall. Don't want them bleeping Ravens to win. I was like, I love my people. Another Super Bowl. This one was boring. 2019, Sean McVay and that offensive machine with the Rams goes up against the high-powered offense of the Patriots, and everybody thought, wow, this is going to be something else. That thing was a snoozer. 13-3, the Patriots won.
Atlanta can't win with Super Bowls if it's not a blizzard that's, bringing a lot of negative headlines. You have one of the most boring Super Bowls ever played.
That thing was terrible.
Yeah, that was like terrible. The only thing I remember is Sony Michel scoring the touchdown, the lone touchdown in the game.
I remember you're coming off the 2018 Super Bowl between the Eagles and the Patriots. That was phenomenal.
45-42 or something crazy like that. Like this one was dull and boring and a not great halftime show.
Okay, I'm going to throw this one at you because it's your boy.
All right.
This day in 2000, Vince McMahon, what did he unveil?
Oh. Was this when he rolled out the XFL?
Yep.
Wow.
The remember spits flying out of his mouth. He got "He hate me."
Yeah.
The coolest thing was the cam the NFL uses today,
which they never admit to taking from there.
I know.
Here's the thing: Vince McMahon didn't know a lot about football, and when it came to the actual football, it was garbage.
Oh yeah.
But the entertainment value, was great.
Because Vince knew entertainment.
Yeah, he just didn't know football.
All right, so that's the greatest day in the history of the world, February the 3rd. Dave, you got an update on the groundhog situation?
Yes.
All right, we'll get to that next. Also, our Firehouse Subtext the Hour. We'll do a little handoff with the postgame show sponsored by Little Pigs on Alpine. A lot to do before we wrap up the halftime show. David Ayer, Tyler Head, Terry Ford on the game.
107.5 The Game in Columbia, 100.5 The Game in Florence, and 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach. The Game Network.
This is Andrew Perloff with a Sports Minute. We don't usually judge running back legacies by rings. Barry Sanders never came close to the Super Bowl, and he's considered by many to be the best ever. Win or lose Sunday, Saquon Barkley has made his mark this season. He would have set the single-season rushing record if he didn't sit in Week 18. A championship would elevate his achievement to the next level, arguably making this the best season an NFL running back has ever had. I'm Andrew Perloff.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small, loud or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love, guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
One lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean bigger than jackpot big. Since 2002, South Carolina students have benefited from more than $6 billion in lottery-funded scholarships and grants, including the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. With every lottery play, you're supporting our students, and that adds up in a big way. That's why education is our middle name. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly. Be 21.
Ever have one of those days where your gut just feels blah?
Ugh, yes.
Occasional bloating or gas could be signs that your gut is out of balance. But Align Probiotic can help. Align 24/7 Digestive Support is a daily use probiotic with a unique strain to help relieve occasional digestive issues. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand. So when you feel the signs, it's time to try Align. Align Probiotic. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
If you've ever been to a Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union, you know there's something different about the people who work there. They're the type of people who mail a wallet they found on the street back to the owner, who always share their fries, who say bless you when you sneeze, even if it's like 5 sneezes in a row, who get just as excited when something good happens to you as if it happened to them. You know what? Maybe you should just stop by sometime and see for yourself. Palmetto Citizens. Feel the love. Federally insured by NCUA.
The Halftime Show, sponsored by the Men's Clinic of South Carolina.
It's time for Text of the Hour on the Firehouse Subs text line on the Halftime Show.
On your home of the Gamecocks in Columbia, 107.5 The Game.
Also heard on 100.3 The Game in Myrtle Beach.
And 100.5 The Game in Florence.
And the 107.5 The Game app.
right. Before we get to our Firehouse Up text of the hour, we got to get our Groundhog Day results from our man on the scene in Punxsutawney, Dave Adair. What do you got there, Dave?
Well, Punxsutawney, Phil, he only has 39% accuracy rate. So remember that?
That's pretty lame.
He says winner. Buffalo Burt says winner. Holtzville Howe says winner. Malvern Mel says winner. But Lady Edwina from New Jersey, she says spring. Stonewall Sussex says spring. General Beauregard with 80% accuracy says spring. And Staten Island Chuck, the most accurate groundhog of all, says spring, 82% accuracy. Nothing from Peapod.
We got 4 springs and 3 winters.
Considering the fact it's 70 degrees outside, I'll go with the latter there.
I'm gonna go with the guy with all the accuracy. Is Phil the worst at 39?
Pretty bad.
Well, because he's been doing it for like 100 years, man. The guy on Staten Island's done it for like 3.
So is it?
I mean, come on.
Wait a minute.
So if I only pick one time and I get it right, I'm 100%.
Is it if he doesn't see the shadow, then it's more winter? Is that right?
Yes.
I don't keep up with this enough to.
I think it's if he sees the shadow.
Here's what I know. In about 6 weeks
it's gonna be spring.
is the vernal equinox.
Yes. This is just again. This whole groundhog thing is a reason for a lot of people to go get drunk and stand by bonfires in very cold Pennsylvania.
You could have stopped it drunk. It don't matter where.
It's true.
Hey, we're going to watch this groundhog come out of a hole and then go get blank face.
Exactly.
Right, I'm there.
in.
Doesn't even come out of the hole anymore.
They carry him out in a little cage, and the guy's got his top hat on and everything. It's a thing, man. I do too. I'd love to have one of those hats. Yeah. One of those cool the big top hat.
Do they
That's what I want.
Do they have a store specifically for those?
Yes, they got all sorts of stuff in down. Look, downtown Punxsutawney is like 4 blocks. They got all sorts of groundhog
stuff. Does their entire year revolve around this one day?
Yes, it's a thing, man.
Wow.
You go in there, they got the gift shop. It's like those towns in Oregon that are like Bigfoot towns.
No, yeah, you sell Bigfoot things.
Yeah.
Like upstate New York has a lot of big feet stuff too.
Yeah, sure.
There was one town, nothing but Bigfoot stuff. We were driving through.
I've never heard him referred to as big feet.
Big feet. That's more than one Bigfoot. That's plural for
Well, the way I've always thought, wouldn't there be more than
Yeah, you can't have one. You got to have mom had.
I'm not great at science and a lot of things.
There's one in New York. There's one in Tennessee. There's one in Canada. I mean, there's got to be multiple ones, right?
There's obviously a breeding pit somewhere of big feet.
Well, and here's the crazy part is nobody can get them on camera.
Never.
Everybody's seen them. Nobody can get them on camera.
The funniest thing is they have them. You have those little silhouettes of guys like smoking a cigarette against the house or something. Yeah. In upstate New York, they had silhouettes of a Bigfoot.
Sure.
And the first time you see it, you're like, what? Oh, okay, it's a silhouette of a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
But there's a big thing about Bigfoot sightings in upstate New York,
nobody
too.
can catch them on a Ring camera or a deer cam or something like that?
No, because they're quick. They're stealth.
I know you and I talked about this once. You and I might not have, but I a couple of years ago, more than that now, on Animal Planet or something, there was the Bigfoot Hunter show, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And they have this guy who looks like comic book guy, from The Simpsons. That's what this dude looks like, right? And he's talking. They're in Oklahoma this time, and he is talking about the eating habits and everything of the Squatch. He called it. I still remember that.
Not Sasquatch, the Squatch.
Squatch likes so and so and so, and he's talking so matter of factly, like your vet would talk to you about your dog.
Sure.
As if he's been so studied and analyzed. Generational information is at your fingertips.
There's that show, and then there was this show called Mountain Monsters, where they would, give you the lore of the woman of the woods or whatever, and then they'd go out to look for her, and they always came really close to finding her, but she just got away before they could get the, or the person that wasn't on camera. Oh God, I saw her, but we didn't have a camera around. Oh no, and that's what every episode was.
I love when they're running with the camera just to make it real dramatic, and they're running with it, everything's shaking,
and they get a producer to ruffle the leaves over here, oh, there it is.
That's like the haunted house show, It's what was that? It's an old-ass house, and it's cold.
It creaks.
That's a speck of dust moving in front of the camera. That's what that is.
Yeah.
It's so
not an orb.
It's
Josh Gates never found him.
But
that's right. Josh Gates was looking.
But the guy, the Squatch dude, what are we doing here, man?
I remember I had this pet squash when I was a kid.
No, but seriously, that's what I remember. I told he was he was talking just like your vet would talk about your dog. All right. What's the most studied animal in a veterinary practice, right? A dog.
No, a Sasquatch. Right. What's up with you? Come on, Jay.
It's like dog, cat,
Well,
Sasquatch.
Don't Sasquatch just eat beef jerky? That's what the commercials say.
And they attack campers and steal their beef jerky. Yeah. Haven't you seen the Westminster Sasquatch show? Come on, what's wrong with you guys?
That'd be fun, actually.
That would be pretty entertaining.
That would be fun.
Fred Willard could do the play-by-play.
That'd be awesome.
That's great.
That would be fantastic. All right, what do you got there, Firehouse? Some text the hour.
Our old friend Yuva referenced that Patriots-Rams Super Bowl, calling BS. Great Super Bowl. Brady's final one with the Pats. Fantasy football is ruining the game. Good old-fashioned defensive showdown. Also, screw that little rat, Phil. I left the TV station after going on late because of the stupid Grammys around 1 a.m., and my car was covered in snow.
The Grammys.
Wonder why Yuva liked that Super Bowl so much. What do you think of the Giant Patriots Super Bowl? That was low scoring too, didn't
he? That was one of my favorites, actually.
He's a big fan.
Yeah.
He didn't bring that one up, did he?
No, he didn't. It's
That's
weird.
really weird that Yuva didn't bring that one up.
Think he's a big fan of Nick Foles.
Loves Nick Foles.
Yeah.
Loves the Philly special. I guarantee. Probably got a picture of him by the Nick Foles statue in Philly.
By the way, how funny is it that there's a Nick Foles statue in Philly now?
They called him one of the all-time great Eagles.
I saw that. Yeah.
I'm like, really?
I mean, he had a good.
I remember
he had a good playoff run.
I remember when Deuce came home like 2 weeks later, and he was explaining what he was like. Hey, in a commercial break, he goes, "Hey, I hope I didn't go too long." And I was like, Deuce, the running backs coach of the Philadelphia Eagles just told us how you won the Super Bowl. It's all good, man. It's all good.
I think Deuce had a little bit better overall career than Nick Foles in Philly, too. Just saying. What do you got coming up? Quick.
A lot of this Lucas stuff and how it might impact Carolina in a storied kind of way.
Post-game show's next. Dave, Tyler, good work. We'll do it again tomorrow. Halftime show.
107.5 The Game. Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios.
Take up to $20,000 off new Silverados.
Stop by or shop online today and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile. Together, let's drive.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guarantee details at turbotax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, HIMS can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/radio. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but HIMS can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or play stopped, opt out.
Your garage door